Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great at this stage. I know that you're probably having a long day, so thank you for bearing with me through this presentation. So I'm Antoine, and I work at Snap. I think that was made obvious at some point during the day. And I'm going to be talking to you about career growth and development. So I've been working, I think, for the past 15 years now, which seems like a lifetime. And I'm enjoying doing what I do because I've made choices along the way. I'm a father of an amazing 2-year-old daughter, and I do enjoy my snaps on Snapchat as well, as you can probably see from the presentation that I've put together for you. But coming back to the point of our conversation today, career growth, personal development. What does this really mean? And where do you start? And what do you keep on doing as you move throughout different jobs, as you start looking for one, and you start kind of understanding what is required from you and what is expected from you? And I'll start obviously with an kind of, I would say, an anecdote. I think all of us have probably heard over time many stories of women and men that grew their careers and succeeded. And maybe some of them have failed at first and eventually learned from their experience to actually grow their careers again. And I think that's something that's quite natural within any person or any story that you would have heard over time. And I'm sure you would kind of see and identify people on from the pictures that I've just kind of highlighted here, or other stories that you probably have heard from your fellow colleagues, your peers, friends, family, and kind of pushing you towards kind of following that path. Now, what I want to bring to your attention is one thing that's quite important. There's a very strong common thread across all the people that have grown their career over time, right? There is similarities in what they've done, how they've approached it, and what they've really used and leveraged as individuals to be able to kind of reach specific ambitions they had in mind or specific goals that they've set to themselves. And these are quite simple, to be honest. There's not a lot of magic in whatever I'm going to be talking about today, but it really kind of revolves, I would say, around three realms: having the discipline, ensuring that you have the clarity, and knowing how to seek support and creating that support system, right? All of these elements are conducive to actually help you as individuals who are aiming for growth, be it professionally or personally, to actually be able to do that. And these are kind of a combination of elements that would help you go into a direction that you deem is important for you, that you deem is relevant for your success as individuals, contributors to the community, and potentially even kind of, heading a family, such as myself. So all of us have these ambitions and these ideals that we want to kind of live by, and the way we visualize kind of a future state that we want to reach. And all of this is extremely important. However, you need to have the tools within kind of reach to be able to actually progress and grow and reach the end destinations or these milestones that you want to achieve over time. So what would be the first thing that you need to kind of really think about? And I think one of the most important elements that is extremely useful, whether it's in kind of a professional setup or even on a personal level, is really understanding your values. What are your values? What are these things that actually make you proud at times? What are these traits that you feel that this is what I want to be, right? So one of the most important things, and this is something that you would actually hear from academics in business schools, and you would hear as well from actually practitioners and professionals within the workplace and within corporate environments. But most importantly, I'm sure you've heard this a lot from your parents, your families, and people that actually always tell you about, you really need to understand deep down What do you stand for as an individual? And that's an amazing starting point to actually be able to have kind of a compass whenever you're actually growing your career and whenever you're actually moving from one point to the other within your professional journey. And knowing your values seems simple, it seems straightforward, but probably it's one of the most complex things that you can actually achieve as a task. And if I want to kind of break it down for you guys, just to kind of really dissect the way kind of identifying those values work. And please mind you, this is not static. These do not remain the same, exactly the same over time. Some of them would definitely remain, others might evolve. So keep an open mind whenever you're thinking about what I'm going to be sharing with you now. But one of the things that help you always understand what your value system is about is starting kind of remembering some of these times where you felt most fulfilled or satisfied as an individual, right? You've been in such a situation where you took some form of pride, right? Within a specific context where you've engaged with another person and maybe you've lent a hand or you were generous in some kind of way, or as my colleague Farima earlier said, was empathetic within a context. And what this allows you to do is really visualize those instances where you were comfortable as an individual and where you felt that you were satisfied and fulfilled. And now that you know these instances, and now that you've identified these situations, understand and dig a bit deep. What were the values that you were portraying within these circumstances, right? And these values that have led and were the conduit to actually be happy, be fulfilled, and be proud of what you've done. And ultimately, I think the most important thing in this whole exercise is actually to prioritize these values. Know what comes first, what comes second, and what comes in third place. It's not a matter of having 50 or 100 values. It's really about understanding what matters to you. I have a value card, always in my pocket, and actually it helps me a lot. And that brings me to the last point in this slide. Reaffirming values, remembering what your values are. It's very easy for you, once you've done this whole process, to remember your values, right? Because you're in a very serene state, you're very comfortable where you are. Everything is like going at I would say, a regular pace. But guess what? Whenever you're stressed, whenever you're anxious, whenever you're actually facing a big challenge, and your mindset is quite turbulent, you're not being able to kind of see clearly, right? Always remember to reaffirm your values within these situations specifically, right? And the important part there is this actually helps you ensure that you're still doing what you believe is right and what we believe actually will drive you as a person to actually be fulfilled and be satisfied. And this is a cornerstone to career growth and development, knowing your values and reaffirming them as you progress within your career. Please do remember that. I think that's probably one of the most important lessons that I've learned in my life as I progressed through my career. And I am at the place I am today because I know what my values are and what is important for me. Now, if I move on, there is an amazing concept. And I'm sure maybe some of you have seen it throughout social platforms, on LinkedIn. I was happy to attend and watch that LinkedIn presentation as well. So there's a concept referring to called the Ikigai, right? It's a Japanese concept. And the whole premise behind Ikigai is to actually have a direction or purpose in life. So it provides you a sense of fulfillment. Whenever you have this in mind, this kind of guides your thinking and actually guides the actions that you're doing and having. And obviously, this is kind of a continuation of the values conversation that I had earlier with you in the previous slide. But what I really want you kind of to reflect on is always try to imagine, right? It's not only about being good at something. It's not only about doing what you love. It's not only about kind of receiving financial or some other form of remuneration, right? Or what do you believe the world needs? That intersection of these multiple words becomes an area where you're really kind of pushing yourself to kind of a sense of relief and fulfillment in the way you're actually progressing within your career, because you understand that you're doing what you love. You're being remunerated because you're doing what you love. You know that you're good at it and you're actually evolving in it. And you believe as well that this is what the world needs. Having and working within such an environment is something that's extremely fulfilling and satisfying. And this is not something that you get kind of right from the get-go. This is something that you actually learn and enhance and evolve over time. And I believe that's probably one of the most important concepts that probably came through in the last couple of years, just to be able to understand what really works for me and what really works for others, and how can I actually progress and grow my career accordingly. Now, the other element, so we've spoken about values, we've spoken about these fundamentals, and really understand like what really serves me as an individual and potentially serve others, right? But I really want you to kind of start reflecting about your career as a journey, right? It's always about like have this concept of from to. You're going from one place to the other, then the other, right? And for you to be able to have a beneficial, a positive career journey, what is important is think about it as a map. Think about it as kind of a series of milestones that you have in mind and that are going to take you from a specific place that you're at today and eventually take you to another place that you want to be at tomorrow. And be quite explicit about these things. Write them down. Today, I'm a student in X university. I know how to do X, Y, and Z. Tomorrow, I want to be an engineer with this energy company working on specifics. So think about these milestones and this journey by explicitly writing them down so that you have that ability to visualize where you want to be, but more importantly, be aware of where you're at today, so that you start kind of imagining what that bridge or what that journey is going to be between the today and the tomorrow, right? And one element that is extremely important within the setup is the whole context of making sure that you're getting outside and external perspective into how you're planning. I'm sure within your surroundings, you have trusted mentors. I'm sure within your surrounding, you have professors, counselors, and other peers. Ask them for their point of view on your plan. Get another opinion. It's not about taking it for face value. It's not about, anyone that everyone else is going to be telling you to do is something that you need to do. But take some perspective. Take a couple of steps back. Let someone else see the plan that you've put together for yourself. See the series of milestones that you believe are going to be kind of fulfilling your ambition. These are extremely important within your career planning journey that actually contribute to your career growth and even contribute to your personal development. Hearing other opinions on things that you're crafting, things that you're reflecting on, are extremely crucial for you to grow as an individual professionally and grow as an individual on a personal level as well. I think we've talked about, drawing that map, drawing that plan, drawing that point A to point B to point C kind of journey for your career. What really starts mattering now, after having done those same things, is really trying to understand, okay, so what are the type of experiences that I really need? And how will this actually support me within my journey, within my career journey? And this is as crucial as knowing where you are and knowing where you're going to be going to, because these are the bridges that are going to connect these dots, the experiences that you're going to be working on, right? And think of the types of experiences. And again, be explicit. What do you want? What do you want to do? And what do you believe is actually conducive for you to go from that point to the other? Whether these are functional experiences where you're actually doing something that is specific to an industry, that is specific to a subject matter, and so on and so forth, or it's managerial. It's about kind of interpersonal skills, connecting with other people, leading, working within a team, collaborating, right? All of these elements need to be coming to mind within your plan and coming to life, within your plan, so that you're able to not only draw the points for your career journey, but actually draw the lines between these points. And again, connect with people that are actually having those experiences and learn from them. Whether this is kind of in the initial planning phase of your career, or when you're even on the job and you believe that you've set yourself for success with your plan, with your experiences, you're having your value system, holding it dear to yourself, check with other people that have actually done these experiences, have done these types of tasks, or have this level of skill set within their engagements with others, and learn from them and understand whether this would actually contribute to the destination that you want to go to. One element that actually is kind of fundamental, I think, and I'm sure you've heard it probably in different ways, people trying to kind of push you into a certain direction, but just think about it for a second, right? Peak productivity, and I would say the knowledge development really accelerates when you're actually doing something that you enjoy and you're taking interest in. And at the same time, it's actually reaching the limit of your productivity, right? So you're good at something, you're learning from it, so it's intriguing you, it's creating interests. And at the same time, it's requiring from you to actually do a lot more than what you usually do. That combination is kind of I would say, the holy grail, right? It's like the nirvana. It's an area, it's an intersection which actually is going to be kind of a driver to accelerate your career growth. As long as you're being able to have some of these experiences in your career where those experiences are slightly pushing your limit beyond the usual, but at the same time giving you a sense of satisfaction that you're learning something out of those experiences, this is an area where you're actually going to start to learn more, to uncover more, and to actually discover more about yourself and about the experiences that you've selected. And you choose to actually be these connectors between the different milestones that you have in mind within your journey. Couple of more thoughts from my side that I really want you to reflect on. And this was kind of something that I've highlighted throughout my kind of discussion with you guys. The people and the support system that comes with people is extremely important for you. It's always important for you to be connected with the right people within the context of your career journey. Think about people that inspire you. Think about people that actually helped you understand over time things about jobs or way of dealing with things. Surround yourself by these individuals and aim for a mix of people in the future that are not only within the organization that you're working with, but outside as well. And it's important to have a balance between both, right? And at the same time, once you're working within a corporate environment, if you are in this organization, work on always being visible. Celebrate your successes. Celebrate your successes with others. Join your kind of colleagues and peers and actually appreciating the work and the hard work that everyone's doing. But make sure to always be visible within the organization and visible for the right reasons. You're doing good work, celebrate your good work. Others are doing good work, go celebrate their good work for them and with them. And finally, I think one of the most important elements, and I think this kind of is probably the perfect ending for this presentation, is think about relationships as a long-term investment. Think about relationship as something that will always give back. However, you will need to start giving first. And one thing that I've always said to a lot of my kind of friends, some of my peers over time, and it was actually given to me by one of my mentors. do favors to others that need your support before asking for a favor. Credit that bank with, a favor to people, because this is going to make it super easy for you in the future to actually go and ask for support from that mentor, from that professor, from that peer that you know, right? Always remember that. And one thing that is extremely important is always invest in expanding your network. And what I refer to as a network is the people that are going to be surrounding you over time. Make sure that you are having, and you're mapping that network. You know who's close to you, you know who's farther from you, and make sure that you're creating that cadence or that recurring kind of touch point with these individuals so that you maintain and again invest in those relationships. And obviously, and that's kind of a given, but I just want to reiterate it within the context of this conversation, is ensure that your networks aligns with your ambitions, right? The people that you want to be part of your community, the people that you want to be part of your network, within a professional context, obviously, this aligns with your career objectives and career ambitions. Make sure that these two words are actually overlapping so that you can actually benefit from your network along the way. So what we've really talked about today is how can we grow our careers? How can we develop as individuals? And it really, again, goes down to very simple principles, but probably would require a bit of discipline, a bit of clarity around the objectives that you have in mind, and a lot of support from the people that are surrounding you. And with this, I really want to kind of wish you all the best of luck within your careers as you move forward. But before I conclude, and I know that there's probably a couple of questions that I need to be answering at this point, I'd love to know if any of you can name any of these successful Arab women. And I'm not sure if anyone's going to kind of feed that back to me in some way or form, but I'll give it a second. Maybe amongst yourself, you kind of reflect on who these are, and I'll give you the answer straight away. So probably on the top left side, the family name is kind of giving already a hint. And this is Sara Attar. She's a Saudi athlete that took part in the Olympics and is a track and field athlete and has an amazing story of being kind of amongst the first Saudi women to actually partake in the Olympics. Dalia Mugahed at the top, at the bottom, left, who's a director of research at the Institute of Social Policy and Understanding, and talking about conversations of, how civilizations kind of are cohesive and the differences among different communities, and so on and so forth. And Raha Muharrik, who was the first Arab woman to actually climb Mount Everest. It's good to always remember these idols and these individuals because this helps you to actually strive for more and reflect on potentially what are my ambitions, what do I want to do, what are my career ambitions, and how do I grow towards them. I think I will take a couple of questions at this stage. So there are two questions that came my way. So the first one was, how can you find valuable workplace connections as a student with little or no work experience? So that's an amazing question. The short answer is don't underestimate your network. You have friends. If you're a student, you have friends. Your friends have parents. Your parents have connections. They have friends as well. Leverage all aspects of the circle, the community that's around you to actually be able to connect with individuals that matter. And always leverage someone that you know to actually reach another person, right? Obviously, I know that, one of our industry peers from LinkedIn spoke about LinkedIn, but always make sure that there's a kind of a common person and a common contact that actually allows you to connect to the other people, to the other person that you want to connect with, right? Look for those people, identify them, find the commonalities that you have between yourself and themselves in terms of Is there a friend in common? Is there a person that can kind of help me reach that individual, whether getting his email, getting his mobile phone, getting his LinkedIn profile, and connecting with him to actually meet, ask them questions, and so on and so forth. The other question that I have is, so from my experience, what skills do I think are important for a career in marketing? Again, another awesome question. If I want to answer this simply, one of the basics, and probably kind of was again, a common thread across a couple of presentations today, is you need to have the ability to communicate well. Because a marketing role, and just for those amongst you that probably are not very immersed in marketing, marketing is probably the engine of any company that's intending to create demand for its business. And for you to be able to do a fulfilling role within marketing, you need to know how to, first off, be able to collaborate with others and communicate really well, whether on slides or in person, in a meeting, over email, over the phone. And that's quite crucial, I think, as kind of one of the most fundamental elements for success in marketing. But more importantly as well is being able to analyze and have that kind of, I would say, maybe to a certain degree, statistical acumen to be able to understand what's what and be able to talk to researchers and marketeers and other collaborators within the organization. Problem solving and being creative in problem solving, I think, would be the most important element as well. And when I say problem solving, I'm talking about really being able to understand, define the problem that you're facing, analyzing it, as I've mentioned earlier, to be able to really kind of know what the solutions and what the tools that are at your disposal, and ultimately execute on what you believe that solution is, right? And so in my mind, these would be kind of the top priority components that would actually really help you become a marketeer. And with that note, I really want to thank you for your attention and wish you obviously an amazing day. And hopefully we'll connect soon. And you can look me up on LinkedIn. You'll find me there. Take care. Bye-bye.